and so he did for all his foreign wives who burned incense and sacrificed to their gods. Well, I suppose being very wise and very competent and confident, as Solomon accumulated these wives, he didn't force them to become Jews and accept the belief of the Jews. He was very ecumenical, is the word now, isn't it? He said, let me accommodate you. You and your belief, and you and your belief, and number 753, you and your belief, and right down to 1,000. I mean, this was the ecumenical headquarters for the world at the time. Talking about the World Council of Churches. And Solomon thought he could survive through it all, and he was not able to. All those multitudes of strange beliefs were too much for him. And after a while, he was seduced into them himself, even though he was so wise. So this raises such interesting questions for us. What does it mean that God can give you so much wisdom and yet you're free to make such a fool of yourself? Because our questions are not about Solomon, they're about God. This whole story, what does that tell us about God? I mean, even if you go to God and say, God, I want you to guide me. I want to let go and let God. You lead me. You tell me how to go out and how to come in. Are you still free to go your own way? That's a little scary, isn't it? I've had people say, I wish God had not left me quite so free. I'd be willing to give up a portion of my freedom so as to be sure to be saved. And God says, if freedom doesn't mean that much to you, you wouldn't be safe to have around in the hereafter. And you certainly wouldn't understand why I paid such a price to preserve freedom. God is not going to run his universe in any other way than the way of complete freedom. Well, doesn't freedom mean disorder and chaos? Not if you have people who can be trusted with freedom. People who do what's right because it is right and not because they've been told to. So it's rather breathtaking, isn't it, that God could give a man so much wisdom, bless him so notably, and yet the man was free to waste it all. But in the end of his life, what could he do? And God says, well, there isn't much you could do. I guess I could use you as janitor in my church, maybe. God never does that. He said, I'd like you to write another book in the Bible. Now, only holy men of God moved by the Holy Spirit write books in the Bible. And that's Solomon. That's incredible, isn't it? So when Solomon came back, he once again was a holy man of God, moved by the Holy Spirit.